How do you, as a novice singer, improve singing in tune and improving diction besides syncing in the group and learning from recordings?
Um, I would say repetition, continuous repetition of the bhajan, and not just repetition, but active repetition in which we see you listen to the recording once and you keep repeating it, you may go off the path. So always refer back to the recording. There's really no way to do it, and to do it besides referring to something else, right? As they say, in a spiritual path, you always need a guru. So when you're learning a new bhajan, a good recording is always the key, the guidepost. And of course, there are many versions of bhajans out there. And I think we'll get to this in the resources section, but I think the Prashanti Mandir bhajans, that what is sung in Puttaparthi and Prashanti Nilayam, is the gold standard for all bhajans, and how the bhajan is rendered there is how it should be rendered everywhere else. For our information, brothers and sister, would you like to add on to that?
Yeah, I'll add on to that. I think Brother Rushi is maybe being humble about just how much the practice is involved here, right? When he's saying the preparation, it's a lot of it, and he's hinting at some of these things, like in his car and in the shower. This stuff is nonstop, and Vedam will tell us that Satatam Kirtanam Jayanto Mam. It's going on all the time, and so he's choosing to tap in. So it's not really a surprise that he's well prepared because he's putting in that kind of time. So I think all of us sort of have to think a little more about making this a lifestyle thing. It is a lifestyle thing, Swami's grace, and of course, it's not a burden. It's a fun thing. It should be part of my growth. So if we take it along, we keep the structure in mind. I think that's part of good practice. Unless Janisha or Erwin want to chime in, I'll go to the next one. You guys can say something.
I'll add in quickly here. Basically, when it comes to practice, you will have your individual practice to do too, in terms of understanding the meaning, being able to focus with the lyrics itself and pronouncing properly before you actually feel that you're going to practice into the practice session. So Brother Erwin, we're mentioning how the responsibilities of the bhajan coordinator would be, well, make sure the preparation planning is also there too, right? Like the bhajan session practices are there, maybe after your bhajan practices itself, the bhajan on Sundays, or have those slots so people have that time and your group have that opportunity to practice as many times as possible, and making mistakes during those times too, because it is a time of improvement, right? And so building on that is key.
I'd like to add one last little thing here. If you're a newcomer and you want to learn how to sing bhajans, don't learn by leading a bhajan. Learn by chorusing first. Get into the session, sit beside someone, look at the lyrics, listen to how they're chorusing, because the chorus half the time maintains the base level of the song without the variations. Learn to sing that, because at least then you will pick up stuff after you've done that a few times, not just for 2-3 bhajan sessions, maybe a month, maybe 2 months. You start understanding how the words go, you start understanding how the clapping happens. All of that plays a part into your practice. Then you can implement into your own practice for you to lead a bhajan.
Yeah. And even when you're listening to the recording, when you first start listening to a bhajan, I would recommend don't sing along with the lead. Sing along as you're listening to a recording, even sing along with the chorus initially, so that you get to learn the bhajan. And if you try to sing with the lead, it might become difficult to learn, because what you're trying to sing and what that lead singer is singing is in a conflict, right? So sing along with the lead with the chorus of the bhajan initially.
So we have a segue question here. It's related. We can keep the answer a little bit short because it's not as material based, but it says, what do we do if we're sitting in the bhajans, and what do singers and instrumentalists do when the devotees in the crowd are not clapping or singing along, or we feel it's a low energy audience? I'll happily start off by saying that we should just set the example, right? So if we feel like it's not rocking, it's not moving, what are you doing to change things? So how are we participating in that bhajan that's changing things? Maybe it should have started from yesterday, and maybe on the spot I can't change something, but we should be thinking, hey, how can I set the example and turn up the energy myself? Rushi or Janisha or Erwin?
Yeah, I think if you in the session itself, you realize and you're not an instrumentalist or whoever, if you yourself are not doing it, Don't expect anybody else to think about that. So you start yourself and you'll see the ripple effect, right? There are times where we've all seen this instrumentalist come off their instrument just to clap. And that means a lot, you know, for an instrumentalist to do that, it means a lot. It means that there's not enough energy, right? So come prepared, be self-aware, because you play a big part in that entire bhajan session.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier about preparation, but like a common joke I have with the tabla boys is I say, hey, bro, you ate today? You ate breakfast? You good? So they feel like, yeah, I'm ready. They have to start. And then after bhajans, we hug them because, bro, for an hour, you were just, your hands were going crazy, you know? So they had such a duty to us. They helped us so much. They were steady. You know, that's a responsibility in itself. Okay, let's move on.
I just want to add one sentence here. As Swami, backing off of what Brother Erwin said, Swami has said one very important word. Being a good example is the best form of service. So as people who are involved with bhajans, it is the best thing we can do is be that good example and sing chorus and clap in a bhajan session.
Okay, Brother Rushi, in segue to that, it's a common question. It's a good one. How should Manjira be played during the slow speed?
So I'd like to consider two different ways of playing Manjira, right? So as much as possible, if the Manjira player is a little bit more advanced, they can try to mirror exactly what the tabla player is playing. For example, I wish I had another tablist with me here and I could do like a more of a live demonstration, right? But if it's let me sing like a medium pace bhajan, right? He Ram Narayana. So the tabla player will probably do like a tihai tenor, like din ta din ta. He Ram Narayana, Hari Krishna Janardhana, He Ram Narayana, Nityananda Brahmananda, Krishna Madhusudana, Hari Krish. And then this also ties into the clapping exercise that we had done at the towards the beginning of the workshop, right? So when we get into the last line of the last of the first speed, right? Hare Krishna Janardhana, Hare Krishna Janardhana, He Ram Narayana, Hare Krishna Janardhana. So we want to keep the Manjira beats simple, but we want to also keep the Manjira beats simple, but if possible, the Manjira should try to mirror what the tabla player is doing, especially when we have breaks. For example, we have a bhajan, Jai Jai Prabhu Giridhari, Natavarananda Lala, Natavarananda Lala, He Giridhar Gopala, He Giridhar Gopala, He Giridhar Gopala, He Giridhar Gopala. So let's say the tabla player just kept the tabla player did the break, right? And you feel like so much power when those breaks happen in a bhajan, right? But if let's say the Manjira player just kept going, right? Like I have a Kanjira here also, right? If I was playing Kanjira, right? And I'm doing Natavarananda Lala, He Giridhar Gopala, He Giridhar Gopala, He Giridhar Gopala, He Giridhar Gopala. But if I did the same thing without doing the breaks, it would lose its beauty a little bit, right? He Giridhar Gopala, He Giridhar Gopala, He Giridhar Gopala. So it is important to be simple, but especially if we have some breaks or tihais that come in, the Manjira or the Kanjira player as well should try their best to emulate the tabla and the dholak player.